Hey everyone, my name's Tori and today's video is going to be my best of beauty or makeup products of 2018. So it's basically just a roundup of all the different makeup products that really stood out to me this year. I didn't really have like a plan for it. I mostly just kind of wanted to look at my makeup and just kind of decide, okay, like what really stood out to me this year. I recently did a video as a get ready with me, my everyday makeup routine, and I'll link that down below, but that includes like all the products that I use on a daily basis, which to me are like all best of beauty for the most part. So only a couple of those are featured in this video, but I wanted to do some newer things and some things that were new to me this year that really stood out for one reason or another. So here we go. So the first thing I have here is a primer and a foundation, and I've already talked about these several times. This is from the brand Too Faced, and this is the Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation and the Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Perfecting, what's it called? Cooling Matte Skin Perfecting Primer. So these two together are just perfect for my skin type. I am oily combination. I have a little bit of dryness on the outer perimeter of my face, but I do get very oily in my T-zone. So whenever I put my foundation on in the morning, I need the longevity throughout the day. And this product really gives that to me. It helps control shine. It doesn't settle into my any type of like fine lines or anything like that. It doesn't wear off. It doesn't oxidize. It's just all the things that I'm looking for. This is actually, both of these are actually my second tube. Each one of these are the second one, and then when I'm out, I will be repurchasing a third. So until I find something better, this is my all-time favorite foundation and primer, especially when used together. Next thing here, I have concealer, and this is by Makeup Revolution. This is the Conceal and Define Concealer. I think this may have come out this year. I think that it's as close to Tarte Shape Tape as I have found. I do really like the Too Faced Born This Way concealer that came out this year. I think that's great. And I still use the Tarte Shape Tape, but I think this is a really great concealer. And for me, for the price, I like to have a lighter shade of concealer and a darker shade so I can mix them kind of at my levels of self-tan. And I just find that it's much easier on my wallet and my heart to buy it from the drugstore and not try to, you know, constantly be feeling like I have to have, you know, multiple shades of a high-end concealer. So I like that I can buy two of these and it's, and I can afford that, and I love the color selection that they have. They have a really great range. I do find that it lasts all day. I use the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder to set it, so I don't really have a lot of problems with creasing that I've noticed. So I think it does really well covering things around my face as well. So I've had a really good experience with this concealer. The reason I put this in my best of beauty is because I think it's so cool that there is a drugstore alternative to Shape Tape. I don't necessarily think that they're exactly the same, but I do think that they're similar enough that you can still get the same feel for a much lower price. Next thing here is a pressed powder, and this is something I use pretty much every single day. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte 16-Hour powder, and I actually think this is meant to be used as a powder foundation. It's a pressed powder. It has a mirror and then the little sponge on the inside, but I use it as a setting powder for my whole face. So I just take a big fluffy brush and then I set my liquid foundation with it, and I find that this combination is just like so good. It lasts so long. I really do feel like I get the 16-hour wear out of it. And this is just a standout product to me because I feel like I've tried so many other pressed powders and I always come back to this one. Next thing I have here is a contour product from Fenty Beauty, and this is a matchstick in the shade Amber. So it's a cool tone, kind of grayish little cream contour stick. So this is actually something that I never thought I would use or be interested in using. I'm still very much a powder person. I don't necessarily, I can't get into like cream eyeshadows, cream blushes. I try, it's just not for me. I can never make them work very well. My skin is oily, so they tend to, if I wear them, they kind of slide all over my face, you know, 2 hours later. So, but I do really like this product because once you put it on, it kind of has a natural, almost powder-like finish. So what I'll do is I'll put on my foundation, and then I will just draw this right where my contour is, and then I'll blend it out with a duo fiber brush, or I'll take the brush directly on the stick and then go in with the brush onto my skin, and I feel like I can get a really natural contour look with this, and I can also get something that's a little more dramatic because it layers well and it doesn't move my foundation around underneath it. It's just a product that I never thought I would use, so really like this. Here's another kind of contour product. This is the Park Ave Princess Chisel palette. It's a contour palette from Tarte. I actually, when this first came out, I thought it was so pretty. There was no way I was going to buy it. It was like, it was expensive. This is pretty expensive. And I just felt like I didn't need it. I didn't want to spend the money on it. But it went on sale for like 20 bucks. So I went ahead and got it. I wanted to try, my sister had it and I tried it at her house and thought it was really great. But I still didn't want to buy it. It went on sale and I finally got it. It has a huge mirror on one side and then it has a bunch of bronzer, contour shades, and 2 highlighting shades. So I love how big the pan size is. First of all, it's easy to get your brush into. The shades that I love the most that I use almost daily, I use these Halo and Enhance, the 2 lightest shades. I use these to blend out anything on my face. So whether my bronzer is looking weird or my blush or whatever, you know, I just want to clean up underneath my bronzer, I'll use these 2 highlighting shades. One's more pink tone and then one's more yellow toned, and I'll just mix them together. And then all of these bronzer shades I love because the Princess Cut shade here is a little more cool tone, a little gray. I can use that as a contour. And then the Carrot shade and Angle, these 2 on either side of it, I can use as bronzer. And then the Crown shade at the end has a little bit of shimmer in it. It's a little dark. So I can't really use that one as much, but if I have like a really deep self-tan going, which for me isn't like, I say really deep for me. If I have a dark self-tan on, then I can use that bronzer. So I love that this palette pretty much has everything that I need, and it can take me from my fairest skin to the darkest that my skin can get. So I love these powders. They blend out really nicely. It's just a great palette, and it's so pretty. Next thing up, I have blush, and I only have one blush here, not because I only like one blush. There's lots of blushes I like, but this formula specifically stood out to me this year. This blush is by the brand Kylie Cosmetics, and it's in the shade Barely Legal. So this particular shade is really great for my skin tone for like an everyday color. It's kind of like that, it's just that peachy pink. It's matte. It has a mirror inside as well. I do wish that the packaging was a little more substantial. These little corners, the edges of it's kind of like the cardboard of like a book. They just get smashed really easily. So I do wish that it was maybe a like a plastic or a metal or something like that, but it's fine. It still works. I love this blush because it's matte, but it doesn't look like flat and crepey and gross on my face. I feel like it's almost like a satin matte. I love these blushes because they are so buildable, and I am not afraid that I'm going to go in and like completely overdo it and have like major clown cheeks after the first just tap of my brush. That tends to happen with like the Becca blushes, like really pigmented blushes. They can be hard to work with, and with this one I feel like it's pretty foolproof because it's so buildable. My next thing here, I have 3 highlights. 2 pressed, 1 loose. The first one here is by the brand Hourglass, and this is in the shade Luminous Light. And this compact is so pretty. It has a mirror inside. The pan size is huge. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go through one of these, but this highlight is just so natural. And the reason I bought the large one, the full size, is because I had the travel size. I wanted to try it first, see if I liked it, because I feel like this highlighter is an investment. It's expensive, and I didn't want to, you know, buy something that I wasn't sure I was going to love. So I bought the travel size first, used it a ton, absolutely loved it, and decided to just go ahead and get the full size so I could get like a bigger brush into the pan, because the travel size is pretty small. This highlight is the perfect like daily, natural, barely there, lit from within kind of highlighter. On days where I'm struggling with like breakouts or texture or something like that, this is the highlighter I will go for, because you can still get that glow, but it won't emphasize any of your texture or anything like that. So you'll still be like fresh and dewy sort of looking, without looking like you have like breakout texture, you know what I mean? So it doesn't emphasize anything like that. So this highlight is beautiful. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you are struggling with any type of like skin issues. These Hourglass highlighters are a really great option. My next highlighter is from ColourPop. It comes in the little compact, but it doesn't have the name on the back, but this is in the shade here, Kitty Kitty. And this is just like a vanilla kind of champagne-esque highlight. So there's a little swatch. It's kind of got that like champagne-y, peachy, vanilla-y kind of highlight undertone to it. This is one of my favorite highlighters to wear for my skin tone. I love Becca Moonstone and Becca Champagne Pop, and I always wish that there was something in the middle, because sometimes Moonstone's a little too light and sometimes Champagne Pop is a little too dark, and this is like the perfect in-between of those two shades. This is basically like my dream highlighter in between the two. What I love about this highlight is that it is so smooth looking on your skin. It's not chunky or glittery. I wouldn't even call it metallic. It just, you can layer it to where it looks really intense, or you can barely dust it on and it's a little more subtle. It is more intense than the Hourglass one. I love this highlighter. It's just such a great, well, it's a good tone for my skin tone, and I can pretty much wear this at like any level of self-tan for the most part. So it's very versatile for me, and I love it. My next thing here is a loose highlighter, and I didn't think I would like this at all. And this is from the brand Kylie Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Santorini. And I think it might be the lightest shade. Has the screw cap on it, and that's kind of why I don't like loose powders. It's just, it's so messy. It's so messy. But when you put it on your skin, oh my goodness, it's just such a beautiful color, and I think the loose powder is what gives it that kind of, what makes it look so smooth and so blended. So there is Santorini. So it's a lot more reflective than here Kitty Kitty. You can see those undertones a little bit different. So here Kitty Kitty, the ColourPop one, is a little more of a champagne peach. And then the Santorini one has like almost more of like a silver vanilla to it. I love this loose highlighter because I can dust it on lightly and it's not intense at all. It's just the right amount of sheen for me. And it can look a little more natural. It just looks very blended and very smooth is what I like about it. But you can also really build it up and it's like really intense without looking like really metallic and gross. Like it's sitting on top of your face. It just looks very blended and like buttery smooth. Love that highlighter. So the next thing here, I have two eyeshadow palettes. So this first eyeshadow palette came out, I think this year. This is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes. And this is an all matte palette. It came out with the Peaches and Cream collection, I think, where my favorite foundation is from. I love their new packaging that they did, I think, this year. The mirror size is, it's just huge. It's heavier. It's just nice packaging. And here are all the shades inside. So I love warm toned shadows. I mean, I say that, I pretty much love all tone shadows, but I really like warm tone shadows. I was really into warm tones for a minute there. Just did a really great job of putting together these shades that make sense. And whenever I open this palette, I know that I can get pretty much a complete look. It is completely matte, so if you want something shimmer, then you'll have to reach into something else. But I love that I can get a full look using this palette. I have my transition shades. I have my deeper shades to darken things up on the outer corner. Every single time I wear this palette, somebody asks me what's on my eyes. I don't know why. You have palettes that are like that, you know what I mean? So like, that's what's kind of cool about this palette is I know when I wear this, someone's always like, hey, what do you have on your eyes? Literally every single time. So, I love the color combos I can get with this, and I think the quality of the shadows is really great as well. And it smells pretty good. My next palette here is by Dose of Colors, and this is the Desi and Katy collab round 2 that they came out with. This is the Friendcation palette. So it comes with a large mirror inside. I think the packaging is so pretty. So there are all the colors. When I first saw this, I didn't think I was going to get it because it's expensive. It was like, I think it was $50 something. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna pay that much money for a palette. I'm just not, I don't know. I was kind of in a place where I was like, I don't want to do that. Even though it was beautiful, I was just like, I don't want to pay that much for a palette. So I ended up using my Ulta rewards points on it, and I actually got it like for free with my points, which was so cool and so exciting. So I was really excited about that. But then it went on sale for like 50% off like a couple weeks ago around Christmas. I was so annoyed. Whatever. It's fine. I still like the palette. But the colors inside I just think are so pretty. They're colors that I wear all the time. And honestly, like some of these, you know, these warmer shades here and kind of these two, almost all of the mattes I could probably dupe out somewhere in my collection. But what I like about this palette is you can get a full look using just this palette. And that is always something that I'm looking for in a palette. The only thing that's missing for me is like a brow bone highlight or inner corner highlight. And I feel like I say that a lot. If you cover up these colors here, this palette is enough for me. This is like my dream palette and I love it. The blue and the green and the black are gorgeous, but honestly, I don't know if I'm ever going to use it. I mean, New Year's Eve would have been the time, but like, I stayed in with my boyfriend and my dog, you know, like I'm not like, that's not really like my life. So I don't know. I do want to find a use for those colors. I think they're beautiful. I love that you can come up with so many like neutral looks, but you can also come up with so many different like cool, edgy, outside of the box things, and pretty much everything in between, because I think the color scheme really does that for you. So I love this palette, and the eyeshadow quality is excellent. I actually think it's better than, I have like the 4 or 5 pan shadows from them and the baked browns, like the smaller palettes. I actually think that this formula, I feel like it's different and a little bit better. It's not as powdery. These shadows are so buttery and creamy soft, and they're really easy to work with and blend out. So really love this palette. I have 2 more eyeshadows to talk about, and these are both from the brand ColourPop, and these are both Super Shock shadows. And I have mine, or the ones that I use the most, this was in the shade Fringe and in the shade Amaze. This first one is called Amaze. It's a coppery bronze with the silver glitter, and the swatch of it is right here. So you see that copper base to it, and then it's got a bunch of really fine micro silver glitters in it. And then the next color I use the most is called Fringe, and this one has more of like a champagne-y gold vanilla base, and it has not as much silver glitter in it. It's a little more of like a sheer shimmer right there. I love the Super Shock shadows that are the metallics, or the things that have like the glitter in it, things like that. I'm not really the biggest fan of the mattes that they have. I've used them, they dried out for me so quickly, and I just could never really figure out how to use them. I had like a matte brown, and I just couldn't. It's probably user error, but like these are so much easier for me to use because I can just do my finger and then pop it on my lid and be done. And you can kind of blend out the edge, and it's just super easy to wear. These are my favorite types of colors to wear on the lid all the time anyway, and I just think these are so pretty, and they really add that extra, just really pretty finishing touch and kind of shine to your eyes. Really love these. All right, my last things here, I have lip products. So I'll start with a lipstick, then go into glosses. I always come back to this lipstick. This is by Maybelline, and this is their matte lipstick, and this is in the shade Touch of Spice. This shade is like kind of a warm terracotta brown red. I love this shade. Well, first of all, this formula is amazing. So there's the swatch of the color. The formula is very comfortable. You can kind of see it's a little more satin than matte. It dries a little more matte, but it still feels like a velvet or a satin or something like that. Like it's not extremely dry to the point where you feel like your lips are cracking. It's a really easy color for me to wear every day because I feel like it goes really well with neutral looks, which is what I normally do on a daily basis. So if I'm trying to do something a little more than a gloss, I'll usually go for this lipstick. The next thing here I have a liquid lipstick. Kind of unlike me. I'm not against liquid lipsticks. I don't mind them. I would just rather wear like a velvet or satin finish liquid lipstick, or just a normal lipstick, even if it's a matte bullet lipstick. Those are more of what I go for. But this year I discovered this liquid lipstick, and this is by the brand Morphe, as this is in the shade Hot Shot, and I'm telling you, this shade, I've never seen anything like it. So it's just this like really almost neon bright red with a hint of orange. And I feel like it's not really picking up as bright on camera as it is in person. But whenever I wear this color, I have so many people ask me what it is. And I think it's just because it looks so bright. It's like almost neon. Overall, I think these Morphe lip glosses are awesome. I love the formula, and I think that they're definitely worth a try. The only thing I don't like about them is I really don't like this like really pointy lid on it. I know that's really specific, but I really don't like that because it like stabs me if you're reaching into your purse, and it kind of, I feel like it's gonna scratch something. I don't know, but I love the shades. I love the gloss formula. I have 2 more glosses, and that's it. I have my NYX Butter Gloss. This one is in the shade Creme Brulee, and honestly, like any shade of the NYX Butter Gloss is great. I love this formula. It smells kind of like vanilla. This is Creme Brulee. This is probably my favorite color other than Tiramisu. So these are my favorite glosses to wear on a daily basis just because they're so easy to wear, and they're so glossy, and they're sheer with just a little bit of color. I love this lip gloss. Would definitely recommend. It's the perfect everyday gloss. My last thing here, this is of course the Gloss Bomb by Fenty, and this is the original one in the shade Fenty Glow, and this is kind of like a neutrally rose, brownish rose maybe. It's the gloss I'm wearing today. It's the gloss I'm wearing most days if I'm not wearing a NYX Better gloss. It's right here. It has a little bit of shimmer to it. For me, it's kind of like a Your Lips But Better shade. It's smooth, it's hydrating, it smells good, it's easy to apply. I love how big the applicator is, and it's just such a good, it's a good gloss. It's just so easy to wear, and that's just like what I go for when I'm getting ready in the morning. So well, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.